Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are talking with the founder and also the founder of two things. One, the Run Good clothing line, and also the Run Good Poker Series. Tana Karn is with us. Tana, an incredible year last year with the 2020 pandemic for COVID-19. Run Good was in the middle of a tour and was actually in the middle of a very interesting promotion. But of course, that was put off because of the pandemic as spots were being shut down. I remember personally that I was actually flying out to the WSOP Tulsa stop, which is one of the locations for a Run Good stop. It was supposed to be starting Sunday. I was flying out Saturday night. All of the world, the NBA shut down on that Wednesday, and I canceled my trip, etc. And I was calling you, is it still going on? What's going on, etc. So in a crazy world, of course, that we live in, but talk a little bit about the promotion that you were having last year, because that's basically now just continuing a year later, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it was one of those things where, I I talked about this a lot in the sense of like, winning those two awards at the Global Poker Awards really meant something that, A, it wasn't a fluke for the first time. B, the second time, we put the hard work in to make sure it wasn't a fluke. And now the third one is more just for pride to get the hat trick, right? Like if you're going to go score 2 goals, you might as well, go ahead and get the third one. And that way you can mark off a bucket list item. But so with that mentality and that thought is like, we got to go big and we got to figure out something that no one else has done. And we want to do something special that is going to just blow everyone's mind. And, we went to the drawing board and we came up with a bunch of ideas. At one point, we were going to do like a Top Gun theme, which we might do in the future. I don't know. Because I just love the movie. But,
it'll come out next year, I think. So it might be a good time.
That's right. So we ended up deciding on doing a All-Stars event. So an All-Stars Pro-Am event. We had partnered up with PokerGo. We similarly did one back in 2019 with a series called Showbound. So we did the Run Good Poker Series Showbound, which basically sent players into a qualifier event to compete for 2 spots on Poker After Dark. They each got to play their own episode up against, I believe, like Maria Ho. There was Norm Macdonald. There was a couple other, there was a ton of people that were at these events or at these sit and goes to be filmed, Elliot Elijah. And I think it's just a cool fact of being able to grow up watching a television show that probably is ridiculously iconic. I mean, I think we've all can say that we've had Taco Bell at 2 a.m. and then turned on TV and we go through all the infomercials and then bam, right there is Poker After Dark and you're like captured with it. So just that fact of getting to have somebody who not even necessarily plays poker full time, just someone who was able to come to one of these Run Good stops, get an invitation to the qualifier event, and then beat out, I think it was only going to be, 32 players in this qualifier event when we had it. And then the top 2 people went on to go to Vegas and play on this filmed televised event at PokerGo Studios. 2 people won it. They were over the moon. It was a great atmosphere and great time. Not only getting to see yourself on the stream and seeing the Poker After Dark graphics and seeing all these big names that were playing with you, but also the fact of just like behind the scenes part where they mic you up, they tell you where to put the hole cards. It's like being at the WSOP ESPN not final table, but just the featured table is the excitement of getting to see all these people at home tune in and watch you do something that you love, albeit maybe, you might do a blunder or you might suck out on someone, but the thrill of getting to be somebody at home's entertainment for those 2 hours. Right. So we wanted to, and with that being said, it got good responses, and of course we won the award for it. But now we're like, how do we take that up a notch? How do we take that concept and that thrill that we've already built and make it even bigger? And so we came up with the All-Stars Pro-Am event. So we actually did a little reverse algebra, and we started with what we wanted to qualify them for first, and then we're going to reverse it back down. So the thought was, we had like 16 stops at the time. Usually we do 2 a year. So the thought was, 32 people would qualify into this Pro-Am event. So and it would be a 64 player tournament. So the other 32 would be invitations only. Well, all of them were invitations only, but the other 32 would be like invitations for celebrities, athletes, media personalities, professionals, just people who love or who basically have a mainstream appeal. And then, of course, you'd have qualifiers from a main event winner to a points champion through the tour stops that would get an invitation and a paid for seat to play in the filmed event in December. And the thought was, we wanted to create something where you could be rubbing shoulders next to someone who has 3 NBA rings or, a Super Bowl ring. And the thing about poker is it takes away all that. It takes away everything outside of what's in front of you and the cards and the chips. And you don't have to be fast. You don't have to be in shape. You don't have to have, all you have to do is what's up in there for your mental capacity to outsmart or beat out somebody. And it doesn't matter if they've won a Heisman Trophy. It doesn't matter if they've won a Wimbledon Cup. It's all the same once you hit the felt. And so that process, we wanted to create it and make it even bigger. I mean, that's why we teamed up with Poker Go, who's going to film the event. And then also really make it a hometown hero kind of atmosphere. And when I say that is, there's a big thing I've always noticed on tour, and it's when you get down to these final tables and, it's instead of having the 200 people that started the tournament there, you're down to maybe like 4 or 5 people. And the thing with that is, stuff it's pretty quiet in the room, right? When you get down to that many people, because, instead of the noise of chips getting shuffled and the people yelling hold and people are bantering back and forth. It's just these four individuals at a table left to play it out. But I have noticed in different places and different players is when that happens, there is going to be a rail, and some of those rails can be small. Some of those rails can be huge. Some can be rowdy. Some can be, quiet. And it's probably the most fun part about getting to see some of these final tables get played out is the folks who are drinking beers, watching their buddy try to win, $6K in a ring, cheering him on. And obviously every all in, everyone kind of like jumps in and is like, oh my God, what is that card? What do they have? And that sweat atmosphere. And, it just clicked when I started realizing like these guys who have the biggest rails, they are guys who grind in these rooms that we go to. These are the guys who come in to play 1-2 or 1-3 or even 2-5 every week. And, they have a group of players that they always play with. Right. And
all their buddies are there anyway. And the rail it's just kind of just happens. It's just spontaneous.
Exactly. So there's definitely this community base. And there's also this kind of rivalry too, when you have people that are like based in that room versus people at the final table who traveled in to play. There's this like territory,
hometown, like you said. Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. So we decided to take that theme and take that thought and just kind of blow it up in the sense of we created these logos and these mock franchises for different rooms that we were just starting to launch. So, before COVID happened, we had 4 stops. We had San Diego, we had Council Bluffs, we had Tunica, and then we had Downstream. And so each of the rooms ended up voting for a team name. And then we took it on ourselves to do the creative process of creating that team name and bring it to life. So Council Bluffs, Iowa, decided on becoming the Council Bluffs Council Bluffs Bluffers. San Diego became the Card Sharks. Joplin, which is downstream, became the Joplin Grinders. And Tunica, being down in Mississippi, became the Riverboat Rounders. So after all these logos and communities were created in these rooms, which they're naturally there already, we just kind of gave it a face and a team name. And now we're taking this as people that are qualifying into this filmed Pro-Am event down in Vegas are getting to represent their city. They're going to represent their rooms. They're going to represent the tables, the people they play with day in and day out every week. They get to represent their hometown is the bottom line of it all. So, whether you're a card shark, whether you're a grinder, whether you're a riverboat rounder, whether you're a Council Bluffs bluffer, I think it's going to create a really cool atmosphere when we get there and almost treat it like an all-star game, like the NBA. You have all these guys coming in who are just absolute studs of poker for their rooms and their teams. And they're going to mix it up with some people, and not only each other, of other people that they might have never, ever met on tour. But now, we get to see, we might put something together where if your room or whoever you end up sending wins wins the event, maybe we set up like a moving Stanley Cup, or we set up something where we reward the room with, a bunch of, t-shirts and gear. There's a lot of stuff we can play off with, and really, at the end of the day, like, it all spawns back to when I was working with the NBA. And the fact of the matter is, as long as everyone's having a great time, it doesn't matter if you win or lose on the felt. And whether it's the free giveaways, it's the popcorn, the hot dogs, the halftime show, we want to make that experience out there for everyone, and not only make that experience on site, but actually off site as well. So now you're even part of something bigger. And not many people realize this, of how many stops we've had and how many players and how many fans of the series there are. And now we get to kind of group it all together and show the world, like, hey guys, not only are you guys going to be seen in every room on the tour stop, but you're going to be seen from every PokerGo subscriber and every fan who's ever thought about being on a PokerGo event. You want to get onto a film event, you want to get the VIP treatment of walking down the red carpet, getting your mic'd up, getting on the whole cam, the feature table. Now this is how you do it. And you don't have to be, I'll give it to PokerGo. They do an amazing event, an amazing job of some of their high roller events, which they just released their tour of, which is like 10Ks, 25Ks, 100Ks, super high roller bowl, $1 million one drop, you name it. I mean, those are freaking cool events. But like, how do you get that same atmosphere to an average player?
Right.
And this is what it is. And the big concept on the tour has always been, we want to give you a big stage experience. Even if you're only playing $100 turbo, to obviously the main event, which ranges to $575 to $675. We're not afraid to really up the ante and show that it's not the amount of buy-in that changes the atmosphere. It's just the people that put in the work, and it's my team that I have here. It's it's Haley Hochstetler, who's here day in, day out, who takes photos, gets up, makes sure that Poker News has the best, sharpest photos, makes sure that our social media team has the best, sharpest photos, make sure the ambassadors are all, have the best photos to make sure that everyone who sees their tweet gets that little FOMO factor. And of course, Mark Slatcher, who's always helped us with making sure anything I write doesn't sound like a 3-year-old wrote it. I've had Brent Harrington here on staff, who's helped me with just like making sure, not only doing reporting for Poker News, but just making sure that, we're not shipping stuff overnight from UPS because we left cords back in the office. We left, gear back in, all the giveaway shirts back in the warehouse. There's a lot of stuff that each and every person does that's part of the team. I got to mention everyone. Obviously, there's Joe Garrett, who's actually come in as well to help out with photography. Tara Nabui, who's helped us with managing some of the newer rooms and some of the the staff that isn't as experienced as running a tour. And that's the cool thing about us too, is that since we're so affordable, a lot of rooms that have never ever seen a tour stop has gotten the opportunity to do one. Of course, with a little guidance and a little help on how it's done. And that's one of the other big factors is, the best practices of the industry and being part of that whole creation process and going out to the TDA summit. And I know, there is always going to be some sort of feedback or criticism of rules in poker. And I recommend everyone to at least try to come out to one of these TDA summits, and you can see the passion of all these poker room managers and directors and tour operators that come into this event to sit in a room for 8 hours, sometimes even longer, to discuss the merits of, first off the deck, last off the deck. Yeah. What do you do when you're going down to 2 tables? When do you redraw? When do you, when should we put a restriction on late registration? I mean, there's so much that goes into tournament poker that a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. And, a cool thing about that is there are so many people in this industry that are trying, and that's key. Is like the moment people get in this industry become complacent, that's when you start seeing things just going poorly. And I can tell you, everyone who is successful and who is in the same arena as us, obviously WBT, WSOP, MSPT, HBT, the Ante Up Tour, and there's some new tours out there also, starting to emerge, and a lot of in-house rooms. The ones you hear about are the ones who are doing it right. And, it's really cool to see a lot of the companies that we've grown up with, start to emerge as well. And I think a really cool factor in this community is we're all trying to outdo each other. We're all trying to, at least for me, in my hindsight, when back in 2017, we got nominated for Best Mid-Major. And we were up against Deep Stacks, we were against the circuit. I believe we were up against HBT. And, we went out there to Los Angeles for the awards, and there was no doubt in my mind that we were just there to have a free drinks and dinner, right? Like, I was like, how are we even here with these like titans in poker? And then of course, like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, don't think like that. Like, figure out how you got here. Like, what steps or what did you do to get here? And, I kind of went through my head. I was like, as the time will go on and the dinner got served and a couple more, liquid courage got in me, I was like, maybe we can do this. Like, holy shit, Guardy, I think we're actually going to do this. And, our category comes up, and I believe WPT Deep Stacks won that year. But I remember that feeling of just absolute, like, not like it put me in a hole or put me in like a dark place, but it just absolute just disappointment. And it wasn't the fact that I knew going into it that we weren't there yet. We were it was awesome to be nominated and be in that category because we were doing things right to get into that situation. But at the end of the day, I took that feeling and I basically was like, I don't want to feel this ever again. And so from here on out, and for the past 2 years, or I guess 3 years now, I've been trying my best and doing everything I can. I've been motivating my team. Is like, I want that third trophy. Like, I want to make sure that third trophy comes home with the Run Good Poker Series at the end of the night, because either we didn't put enough into it or somebody else is just doing it better. Yep. And if somebody else is just doing it better and we put everything into it, I'm okay with that. But if it's the other way around, then I probably shouldn't even be running a tour. So it's that kind of mentality and that thought process of making sure that we get there. And luckily, I think the players all benefit from it, and they see the passion. They see the passion from the team. They see the passion from me. They see the passion from the ambassadors. It is a family, and when one person wins in the family, the whole family wins. And so, we're in group chats. I mean, you're in the group chat. You see it when somebody wins a tournament. Absolutely. they get put their photo gets put on. Everyone congratulates them, and we all talk about how awesome the event was, and it goes for anything from a big 1650 circuit main event ring to a $100 turbo event. Like, we lift each other up in a game where there's so many ups and downs and highs and lows. You really need that support system to really just make it through this game of poker. And it's whether it's bouncing off even bad beat stories. I know we all joke about nobody wants to hear a bad beat story, but it's part of it. It's part of the game. Like people love talking about bad beat stories, and it builds that community. It builds that that camaraderie, and all that being said, and all of this has now all culminated into what we're doing for 2021, and that is the Pro-Am event, and that is having teams and rooms that are all vying for each other. They want to see each other succeed, but more importantly, they want to be the room or the player to succeed for their city. And I think PokerGo definitely saw the value in that concept, in the idea that somebody who maybe just ended up winning a bunch or just cashing a bunch of tournaments, maybe just playing some of the smaller events, got enough casino points to go into the qualifier. And now all of a sudden, they're the Run Good Poker Series star, the all-star. And, what better way to just basically tell everyone who is not in poker, be like, look, this is what poker is about. I'm on TV. Like, this is what my passion is. This is my hobby, or even my career. And the validation of that is priceless. And so I want to give that to people, and that's what we're going for 2021.
And to qualify, you would either win the main event or be the casino champion. There are multiple events during the week. It starts on a Tuesday, ends on the following Sunday, including the great kickoff bounty event, usually against all of the ambassadors and pros that are there. And then there's events on Wednesday, usually a deep stack, another event on Thursday. Main event is usually multiple flights on Friday and Saturday, with it culminating on Sunday for day 2 and the final table. And as we mentioned previously, really, if you haven't come to a Run Good Poker Series event, definitely look at the schedule, come out. I'll give you the schedule once again for 2021 in the upcoming month. June 8th through the 13th in San Diego and Jamul Casino. June 22nd through the 27th at Horseshoe Council Bluffs in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And Horseshoe Casino Tunica, July 6th through the 11th. Those are the dates that are right now out, but stay tuned, or go to Run Good Gear, rungoodpokerseries.com, or go on their Twitter, and you can see the upcoming events. There will be some upcoming events later on in the summer leading into the WSOP, of course. Tana, it has been an absolute pleasure. Looking forward to seeing you grabbing a drink. You're not going to throw the drink away. You're going to drink the drink.
I will drink the drink.
We're going to have a drink. Maybe we go all out and get like a bottle of champagne or like single malt or something crazy, but whatever it might be, I can't wait to hang out and get back to the real world at hand, and then lead it into one of the Run Good main events. And we're looking forward to getting back out there, my friend.
Absolutely. Yep. Definitely ready for the felt.
Tana Karn here, founder of Run Good Gear and also the Run Good Poker Series. Once again, of course, the Run Good Poker Series was named 2-time mid-major of the year. Come and play with us at the Run Good Poker Series as we continue our 14th anniversary here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show. And as always, may you always go in with the best hand, and may you never get unlucky. Good night, everybody.